Imagine a traditional Japanese garden in ancient Kyoto at the very break of dawn. The air is still cool, deeply saturated with the rich, earthy aroma of damp moss and centuries-old wood. A monk in simple garments slowly, with absolute, unwavering concentration, sweeps the stone path with a bamboo broom. He executes every single movement as if it were the only important action in the entire universe. Suddenly he stops. Resting quietly on a gray stone is a large insect. The monk feels absolutely no disgust, no sudden spike of adrenaline, and certainly no desire to destroy it. He simply and carefully steps around it, allowing it to live, because he deeply understands one fundamental law of existence. This tranquil garden belongs to that creature just as much as it belongs to him. There is no panic here, no endless struggle for artificial dominance. There is only a deep, profound, and peaceful acceptance of a complex, perfectly balanced cycle of life, where every single creature has its distinct purpose and its rightful place. Now, let us sharply and painfully transport you back to your reality. The Western world. The end of a long, profoundly exhausting day. You are returning home, carrying on your shoulders an invisible but incredibly heavy burden of modern existence. You are suffering from a brutal, silent epidemic known as decision fatigue. Your brain has been relentlessly overloaded by thousands of micro-choices you had to make today, at work, in the grocery store, while scrolling through the endless, demanding feeds of social media. You simply want peace. You step over the threshold of your living room. You turn on the artificial light, dreaming only of the absolute silence and safety of your personal space. And in that exact second, your tired eyes register a sudden movement, a shadow, a darting sprint, unnatural speed. You freeze. Your pulse instantly hammers in your temples. On the floor, entirely too close to your feet, a massive, hairy, dark spider is moving with terrifying velocity. It is a wolf spider. Its dimensions seem completely unnatural for a domestic space, and its thick legs move with a chaotic yet mechanical precision that triggers something ancient in your DNA. Your breath catches in your throat. Your pupils dilate to take in more light. Your body automatically tenses, dumping hormones into your bloodstream, preparing for an immediate fight for survival. Your hand reflexively reaches for something, anything heavy. A thick shoe, a heavy hardcover book, a tightly rolled magazine. You are completely ready to strike, to crush, to violently erase this creature from the face of the earth, operating under the absolute, unquestioned certainty that this is a deadly enemy, bringing venom, danger, and unimaginable pain into your sanctuary. Slow down here. Let that sink in. Exhale slowly. You are not to blame. You are absolutely 100% not to blame for this violent, immediate reaction. I want you to hear this very clearly, and I want you to internalize it. Your stress, your sudden panic, your immediate, overwhelming desire to destroy is not a sign of your cruelty, nor is it a reflection of weakness. It is a pure, untamed, and entirely uncontrollable biological reaction that has been meticulously shaped over millions of years of human evolution. Your amygdala, the ancient, primitive center of fear, deeply embedded in your brain, has just forcefully taken control over your rational consciousness. What you experienced was a massive, sudden spike of cortisol and adrenaline. Evolution carefully taught our distant ancestors to automatically fear anything that possesses too many legs, too many eyes, and moves much faster than we can accurately predict. In prehistoric times, out in the wild, this rapid instinct saved human lives. But today, right now, it is playing a cruel trick on you in an absolutely safe domestic situation. Furthermore, your innate evolutionary fear has been artificially inflated and ruthlessly monetized. The global pest control industry has spent many decades and billions of dollars in aggressive marketing to convince you of a completely fabricated ideal. They sold you the concept that the perfect home is a sterile, dead plastic box, heavily treated with toxic chemicals from the inside out. They have successfully engineered a phenomenon inside your psyche known as ambient guilt. If there is even one single living creature in your home besides you, they have made you feel like you are a terrible homeowner. They make you feel like you are entirely out of control of your own life, living in a state of shameful, unsanitary chaos. This pervasive ambient guilt is exactly what forces you to endlessly purchase their poisonous sprays, their toxic foggers, and their cruel traps, silently poisoning the very spaces where you sleep, breathe, and raise your children. Let us break that conditioning right now. Tell me in the comments this very second, when was the exact moment you first learned that a spider was something horrifying? Was it Hollywood movies transforming spiders into giant radioactive monsters? Or was it the inherited, panicked reactions of your own parents, who were just as much victims of this generational marketing? Write it down, release that trapped emotion into the text, so that we can finally move forward together. Stay with me until the last rule, because it explains something that almost no one expects. And this final, profound truth will permanently alter the way you look, not only at spiders, but at the entire vast system of nature, of which you are an inseparable part. What happens next sets the tone for the entire day. Imagine you give in to the panic, you strike. You stand over the crushed remains of the spider, feeling a strange, conflicting mixture of immediate relief and a lingering, subtle anxiety. Your heartbeat slowly returns to a normal rhythm, but the cortisol is still actively circulating through your bloodstream, maintaining a state of mild, exhausting paranoia. You look around the room, nervously scanning the baseboards, suspecting that somewhere in the dark shadows, another monster might be waiting. This constant, unyielding psychological warfare with nature inside your own home exhausts you on a deep, neurobiological level. You are wasting your precious, limited daily energy, your vital cognitive resources, on a war that absolutely never should have existed in the first place. Look at your nightstand right now, or cast your eyes toward that dark corner near your closet. Most of you are looking at it this very second, feeling a slight, involuntary chill run down your spine at the mere thought that someone or something is hiding there in the dark. We are neurologically programmed to actively seek out danger in the shadows, but let us turn away from fear and consult the cold, hard logic of Western science. Let us look the facts directly in the eyes. The wolf spider, this massive, fast, and terrifyingly aggressive-looking hunter, is actually your greatest, most dedicated ally. It is absolutely not a parasite. It is an apex predator within the micro-world of your home, and it has absolutely zero interest in you. Unlike many other common spiders that weave sticky, dusty webs in the corners of your ceiling, gathering debris and giving your rooms an unkempt, neglected appearance, the wolf spider is a free, nomadic hunter. It is a lone samurai ronin in the vast world of insects. It does not sit idly in one place, passively waiting for an unfortunate victim to accidentally tangle itself in a trap. Instead, it utilizes its fantastic, highly evolved eyesight, its incredible athletic speed, and its remarkably high intelligence for an arachnid to actively patrol its territory. And what exactly is it patrolling? It is patrolling your floors. It is guarding your baseboards. It is navigating the deep, dark crevices under your heavy sofa. But that is not the scariest part. What you should truly fear does not wear the face of this hairy spider. The genuine, dangerous threats to your physical health, your mental peace, and the sanctity of your space operate quietly and absolutely unnoticed. I am talking about cockroaches that crawl out of filthy sewer pipes, carrying on their spiky legs a massive spectrum of harmful bacteria and dangerous pathogens highly capable of causing severe intestinal infections and debilitating respiratory allergies. I am talking about the flies that spent their afternoon landing on rotting garbage out in the summer heat and are now landing directly on your clean kitchen table. I am talking about bedbugs, silverfish, and various destructive agricultural pests that ruin your expensive food supplies and destroy your favorite clothing. These creatures are the true, undisputed enemies of your domestic security. They multiply by the hundreds, they operate deceitfully in the hidden spaces, and they create genuine unsanitary chaos inside your home. And this is exactly where the wolf spider enters the stage. Its presence in your living room is not a hostile invasion. It is a biological rescue mission. While you are deeply asleep, recovering from your exhausting day, the wolf spider begins its silent, calculated hunt. The highly sensitive hairs on its thick legs can detect the absolute faintest vibrations in the air currents and along the floorboards. It is entirely capable of sensing the subtle, creeping movement of a cockroach in pitch-black darkness. And it attacks with such blinding speed and overwhelming precision that the victim does not even have the time to process what just happened. Night after night, it quietly cleanses your home of actual disease vectors. It is a fully biological, completely free, and unbelievably effective patrol service that works tirelessly for your benefit while you rest. If this information just shifted your understanding of your own domestic environment, subscribe to this channel so you do not miss our next deep, psychological breakdowns of the human mind and the natural world around us. We are here strictly to liberate you from irrational fears through the power of objective knowledge and calm logic. There is no emotional manipulation here, only pure, actionable value that directly returns the control over your life back into your hands. The shift. Your home is not a plastic, sterile, and hermetically sealed fortress completely cut off from the rest of the natural world. The desperate, endless attempt to make it that way is the very root source of your constant, ambient stress. The moment you blindly accept this fictitious corporate goal of absolute sterility, you doom yourself to an eternal, profoundly exhausting war that is biologically impossible to win. Understand and deeply embrace the ancient wisdom of the Japanese philosophy of wabi-sabi. Embrace the beauty of imperfection, the calming beauty of the natural flow of things. Your home is a living, breathing ecosystem. It interacts seamlessly with the environment outside its walls, and within this complex ecosystem, predators play the single most vital, indispensable role. They maintain the delicate balance. They actively prevent chaos, rot, and disease from consuming your personal space. When you give in to your amygdala, when you pick up that heavy shoe and crush the wolf spider, you are doing the worst possible disservice to yourself. You are single-handedly destroying your own natural defense perimeter. You remove the apex predator from your domestic ecosystem, and nature instantly abhors a vacuum. The sudden absence of hunting spiders directly translates to the unchecked, explosive reproduction of cockroaches, invasive ants, and destructive moths. You yourself, guided entirely by an imposed, irrational fear, are throwing the doors wide open for real infection and profound discomfort. You are violently breaking a perfectly balanced system that has worked flawlessly for millions of years before you ever arrived. Let us deeply analyze this spider from the precise viewpoint of evolutionary psychology. Why are we so profoundly terrified of its bite? There is a deeply rooted, culturally sustained myth that the wolf spider is inherently aggressive, that it lies awake plotting how to sink its venomous fangs into human flesh. This is an absolute anti-scientific illusion. To the wolf spider, you are neither prey to be consumed, nor a rival predator to be challenged. To this tiny creature, you are nothing more than geography. You are like a massive, moving mountain. You are a gigantic, incredibly loud natural disaster that radiates immense heat and creates terrifying, earth-shattering vibrations with every single step you take. The spider feels your heavy approach long before your eyes ever register its presence. Its one, fundamental, overwhelming instinct regarding you is immediate flight. It wants to disappear as quickly as physically possible and hide in the safety of a dark shadow. It will never, under any circumstances, attack you first. A bite is only physically possible in one extreme, highly specific scenario. If you intentionally reach out, grab it with your bare hand, and begin to crush its fragile body, leaving it with absolutely no other biological choice but to desperately defend its own life. And even then, its venom, which is chemically designed strictly to paralyze very small insects, is completely and utterly harmless to a human being. It will cause nothing more than a slight, localized redness, often significantly milder than a common bee sting. There are no horrific medical consequences, no necrosis, no threat to your life whatsoever. Your neurobiological panic over the possibility of a bite is entirely, comically disproportionate to the real, microscopic threat. You are dumping massive, exhausting amounts of cortisol into your system over an illusion of danger, actively poisoning your own body with stress over a tiny creature that fears you thousands of times more than you fear it. Here is the part that matters most. The gradual, conscious acceptance of this creature's presence in your life is a profoundly powerful therapeutic act. It is a psychological exercise in expanding your zone of comfort, in taking back conscious control over your primitive, knee-jerk emotions. The next time you see this rapid, dark hunter sprinting across your wall or your hardwood floor, do not reach for a weapon. Slow down here. Let that sink in. Allow yourself the grace to simply observe. Look at it not as a creeping threat, but as a perfect, highly evolved mechanism of nature. Observe its flawless coordination, its strange mechanical grace. Consciously realize that it is executing its biological duty quietly and unnoticed, actively ensuring that you can sleep in a cleaner, safer environment. This deliberate shift of focus, from blind panic to calm observation, rapidly decreases your stress levels. It actively trains your advanced prefrontal cortex to successfully override the panic screaming of your amygdala. You become calmer. You become significantly stronger than your own automatic, inherited reflexes. And now, exactly as I promised at the very beginning, we have arrived at the last rule, at that exact hidden truth that rotates the entire perception of the wolf spider 360 degrees. We are deeply accustomed to associating all spiders with something cold, utterly soulless, and alien. But the female wolf spider shatters this harsh myth in arguably the most touching and profoundly emotional manner found anywhere in the entire world of arthropods. After she carefully lays her fragile eggs, she does not simply abandon them to fate, as the vast majority of other insect and arachnid species do. Instead, she meticulously weaves a neat, incredibly durable spherical silk cocoon, and she securely attaches this precious cargo directly to her own body. She carries her unborn children with her absolutely everywhere she goes, fiercely protecting them from larger predators and the freezing cold, constantly risking her own life to ensure their survival. But the story does not end there. When those hundreds of tiny, vulnerable baby spiders finally hatch from the silk cocoon, they do not scatter into the shadows. Instead, they carefully climb up and settle directly onto the back of their mother. And this large, hairy, intimidating creature, the very same one that just triggered so much primal terror in your heart, actually moves slowly and carefully through the dark, carrying upon her back an entire new generation like a devoted, living sanctuary. She gently carries them for several days, and sometimes for weeks, until they become strong enough to survive on their own. She often refuses to eat during this exhausting period, giving herself completely and utterly to the care of her young. What you confidently assumed was the very embodiment of your darkest nightmares is, in scientific reality, one of the highest, purest, and most magnificent displays of maternal instinct in all of wild nature. It is a desperate, beautiful, and heroic defense of what is most precious. Therefore, the next time you encounter this swift giant navigating the floor of your living room, remember the serene Japanese monk in the Garden of Kyoto. Remember that you have absolutely no obligation to destroy everything that frightens you out of a lack of understanding. You have the absolute right to reject the heavy, artificial guilt of maintaining a sterile home. You can simply allow this magnificent creature to disappear quietly and unnoticed beneath your sofa, resting in the absolute certainty that tonight, she will be silently guarding your sleep from the real threats that hide in the dark. Exhale slowly. Release the heavy, exhausting fear, and allow nature to perform its perfect, beautifully balanced work right there inside your home.